Hey, this is Marcus Foligno, and you're listening to Missin Curfew.
Fella.
Big Obes.
How we doing, buddy?
Great, bud. How are you?
Mondays continue here. Love this guy's game. I've been talking with this guy all season. Lost some money on the Wild, losing to the Dallas Stars. You know how I feel about some of the calls. But anyways, we got Marcus Foligno, a guy that we both played against. We both love watching him play now, so I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, much respect for the way he plays. Huge thanks for him to come on. We pushed him back a couple weeks because we had some other guests that that were falling in timeline. Marty Turco, great interview. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And Jovo, Panthers have been on the roll. So, but anyway, Marcus Foligno. I love battling against this guy. Yeah. He played in your face, got good flow,
great flow.
Even
yeah.
What can you say about a guy? Plays hard. He's 6'4". He's fucking just chucking.
Plays power play.
God,
he's got a good little gig actually.
He's got a good gig.
Going.
And he'd get that gig anywhere in the league. By the way, if it's not many, it's on 29 or 30 other teams.
Yeah, and there's only, Revo, maybe Big McDermott in Colorado. There's not too many other guys around the league that I think he would probably be even really kind of worried about chucking him with. Like, he's that tough too.
Yeah. Luch.
That's a good role. Luch. No, Luch for sure. But he stands in front of the net, plays power play, hits. It was funny. He texted me because he bumped us the first time. He bumped us because he had to go take care of some stuff. He's like, I'm like, don't worry, buddy. So then I politely was like, fella, fuck, a little mix up here at Missin Curfew. We're not the most organized squad at times. And he just texts back, holy fuck. So, looking forward to it. So excited for this one. Up dog, Marcus Foligno coming at you.
Fella.
Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Up dog, I call this guy a dying breed. Fella.
Yeah, you do.
He's a fucking dying breed. Every time I watch him, it brings a tear to my eye.
He got you up out of your seat a few times.
He's up there with O'Reilly. He's one of my favorite players in the league right now. So Marcus Foligno, Moose, thanks for joining us, buddy. First of all, with hair like that, tell me you go no bucket, buddy. Please tell me you go no bucket.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, fellas. It's good to finally meet you guys. But yeah, definitely. I think that's another dying breed is the no bucky. So got to keep that going. I don't know. I love it. It's kind of the one time. You get to enjoy the game as much as you can in the warm-ups, and all the guys have a good time. So, adding some more experience to our team, and many this year, it was like, if you saw a bucket on someone's helmet, you kind of give them a second look.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we got Revo there, so now Revo was kind of making sure guys were taking their buckets off and things like that. So I love it. I enjoy it. It's something that more guys should do.
I agree. I remember my first year in Denver, we're having a great year, and I think it was right when Taylor Hall got stepped on, and I came in on the whiteboard. It said mandatory buckets, and this probably doesn't shock you, Moose. I wasn't the first guy at the rink, so I'm kind of strolling in, and the boys are looking at me. I'm like, what the fuck are they looking at me for? They're like, oh, check the whiteboard, and I'm like, no way. I go right down to Sacco's office, knock on the door. Needless to say, it didn't work out, but I'm with you. Like, take the bucket off.
Yeah, I tried to wear my bucket when we in Florida,
and
you were looking at me. It was just one of those bad hair days where you're like, fucking, I had late to the rink, late getting a coffee, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna wear the bucket out there, and you're like, don't do it.
I'm like, take that bucket off.
Take that off right now. Don't even think about it. I'm like, okay, fuck it, yeah.
There's been a couple of times where you're about to go out and you're like, put it on, take it off, and you're like, I'll go do the hair. Okay, let's do it.
Exactly.
You just start thinking about it, and it's fun to do it.
So, Moose, we appreciate you taking the time, buddy. Like I said, we both love the way you're playing here. I want to start off with, we have a lot of people that ask us, and I know you guys had high expectations in Minnesota. When you do lose out, are you one of those guys that is it still eating with you right now? Do you get on the plane and start drinking with the boys and realize, hey, it was a good year, it's hard to win? Like, for our listeners, talk us through the process of when you guys lost to Dallas this year.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, it still stings. I mean, do you get over it? Absolutely. But I think it just fuels you for next season. And I think the biggest thing is, I love watching hockey. We're all big fans of it. And so now watching, teams moving on, and that's the tougher part. You want to compare yourselves to the guys that are in the Stanley Cup final now, and teams, compare your team to the teams that are in there now. So that's the toughest part is you want to be in those guys' shoes so badly. But yeah, I think it just, you give a 24-hour rule and to all things kind of with the game. And, then you kind of have your year-end bender with the guys, and then, you get over some heart-to-hearts and all that stuff that we always do. And then usually once that's kind of wrapped up, year-end meetings, things like that, coaches meetings and GM meetings, all that stuff, you kind of move on and get ready for the summer. So, I mean, it's never, like I said, it's something that fuels you all summer just to bring that in there and want to be better for next year. But, losing sucks, period. But you tend to kind of give it a week or two and then move on and get ready for summer.
You guys had a close-knit group in Minnesota, and my boy Updog misses more about the game Moose than I miss about the game, but I do miss a good year-end bender, fella. So talk me through who was in charge of the Fine Fun. The Updog was the Fine Fun guy. Who was in charge of that? Was it a week, 2 days, or how long did the boys for the Wild? I feel like you guys might have had a couple guys that maybe stretched into 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, the younger guys, guys did some damage, but we didn't go away or anything like that. We had a full day. Ryan Hartman on our team's the in charge of the Fine Fun, so it's always got to be someone who can, get in there and be a little bit needle guys the right way and ask for money and not feel so bad for it, right? So there's some guys that have tight pockets and it seemed to delay the pain of the Fine Fun and things like that. But he does a pretty good job with it, and I think he'd always text the group if someone would need to pay. He'll be like, "Hey, listen, you got to pay. Our Reaves coming after you tomorrow." So guys would pay pretty quick. And we had a big day. We had the Twins game. We took in a baseball game that started in the afternoon, and I think we started around 10 a.m. So then I went all night and then went to the bar after with the guys, dinner and things like that. And then there was something the following day, and then you kind of do the stuff with all the girls after with a little dinner. So it was about a 3-day process, but usually it's right after the coaches meeting, then guys feel pretty good going out into the bender after that.
Yeah.
Marcus, do a lot of guys, Minnesota's obviously a great place to live in the summer too. And there's a lot of big personalities on your team. Are guys like sticking around there and not in a hurry to go home? Are they kind of enjoying what Minnesota has to bring come like springtime and summertime?
Yeah, Minnie's great, man. In the summer, it's actually I always go back north to Canada, our college up there in Sudbury, Ontario. So everyone's like, "Why do you leave Minnesota in the summertime?" It sucks because it's 90 degrees here today, and it's great. I mean, yeah, we have a lot of guys now that are sticking around and got some places here year round, and there's just so much to do here. Whether it's golfing or getting on the lakes or there's lots of biking trails, things like that, and it's just easy to get in and out of too. If you want to go to some cities to get out of Minnesota, it's a pretty big hub. So great spot, and it's good to have all these guys. I mean, I went into the rink today. We're kind of starting some things up, and we have about 10 guys already there. So it's fun to see the guys kind of hang around, and it's part of building relationships too. I think it's nice that the guys are sticking around and getting to see each other more, just outside the game and things like that. I think that helps out the team out a lot, and it's been great. So Minnie's a great place to play hockey wise, but I mean, living here has been awesome. So we're sticking around for a couple more weeks before we head up to paradise up in Canada. So it'll be fun.
Hey, Moose, I'm from Ontario myself. I love the lake, right? Kawarthas, Muskokas. I don't know if I can go quite as far up as Sudbury as you up there. The mosquitoes got to get you up there when the sun goes down. But I should have spent more time in the lake and a little less time in Hollywood probably in my off seasons. But
that was a pretty good hub for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Talk me through as a bigger guy. Talk me through. Because sometimes I look back at my off-season rituals, right? And I used to train with Loops, and we had completely different body types. So I'm thinking back, like, why was I doing the same workout as Lupo? Like, talk me through what you do in the off-season to, I guess, stay quick and keep up with these young little guys. Like, have you had to make adjustments as a bigger guy, or is it your standard kind of thing that you do?
Yeah, I mean, early on, it was a lot of just like building muscle and trying to get stronger and just trying to, bigger guy, you don't want to get pushed around. And that's a difference, I think, when you're just, tall, lengthy, and, you're looked at as a big guy. And then now, like, the past probably 3 years, I've been trying to do as much explosivity things, you're not going to be there if we're not the fastest skaters, us big guys. But I think just like the quickness of getting to the corner, to the front of the net, things like that, that's part of my game. But, that's been the thing. I think when you're young, you establish that strength. And then from there, you kind of can just maintain it, knowing that you're strong enough to play in the league. And now it's just been getting quicker and faster in little bursts. I mean, I'm not a guy to take the puck end to end. So it's more like, getting over the blue line, getting to the net, finishing checks, getting back. It's just that's the part of the game that I want to focus on. And, that quickness, a lot of plyos, a lot of like jumps and things like that. We've been starting to incorporate in our workouts. And, Nick and I, my brother, we've been working out with each other every summer. So it's almost to a thing, we do the same stuff, but there's a lot of things that, our trainer does a great job with just trying to separate a little bit of a difference between us. We're both a little bit different skaters in some ways. And so you don't want to be doing the same stuff, but it's great to have a workout, buddy in the sense of, my brother, where you can push each other. That competitive standpoint gets there. So, but yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me is that quickness, that, that 3-step thing is what I've been trying to focus on mostly, especially getting older now up in age. And, you just want to be able to hang as long as you can.
How is that dynamic with your bro for like, whether it's working out or golfing, or are you guys competitive as all hell? Are you both like, as soon as summertime hits and you're back together, are you kind of getting competitive again, or what's that relationship like?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. I mean, we're best buds. Honestly, we're really close, and he's 4 years older than I am, and but yeah, we were a lot closer than the age is. So it's just something like you said, it's just the competitiveness. I mean, it didn't matter what we played from mini sticks at age 5 and up. It was always, I did not want to lose to Nick, and Nick didn't want to lose to me, and that's what I think really fueled us along the way. Of I saw Nick go off and do a lot of great things in his hockey career at a young age. And I wanted to be able to play in that, that league when I could. So it was the same stuff. I mean, he went to the US program when he was 15. I never did that, but it was one of those things where he really paved the way. I got to give him a lot of credit because he opened my eyes up a lot just to how hard you have to work. And, my dad was a little bit harder on him because he was the first one to go through it. So I got to just kind of see it and he kind of brought me along with him. But it doesn't matter, man. We play basketball. It's, you're hitting each other in basketball. It's just like you're doing whatever it can to beat your brother. And that's what just brings out the competitive style. I mean, he lifts something heavier on bench press. I got to do it the next day even more. So it's just continuous. And honestly, it's been awesome because every summer we keep hitting more and more numbers. So I think it's just the competitive style that brings out of it. And I think it's been the reason why we've been playing, as long as we have so far.
Moose, I think I know the answer to this question, but obviously I love the way your brother plays too, and he just seems like the ultimate team guy, like a guy that you would want in your room every single day and go have a beer with. I think that picture that came out, he was having breakfast with a beer. I was like, he's my type of guy right there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But let's say like we just saw it with the Stahl brothers, like, I could treat up dog like my brother. We grew up playing together, training together. Like if I played against him in the finals, I'd like to take a fucking healthy run at him. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you were to play against your brother, like. You want to take a run at him, obviously beat him, right? Like, could you imagine going through what the Stahls just went through, I guess is my question.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we would love to, that's what we talked about, especially him being in Boston the year they had. I mean, like this, it would be unbelievable to be in that situation where you could play your brother in the finals. I know it'd be tough, but I know our family would be guaranteed a Stanley Cup party, so they'd be loving it. But it's just, you do. That's the thing. I think, we care for each other so much and we want each other to do well, but that's the competitive nature that comes out. You want to beat your brother every time we play him. I want to beat him just as, he wants to beat me too. And you just have those bragging rights all summer. So that's the thing. I mean, I cannot imagine though, like, it's tough. You see, I saw, the handshake line between the Stahl brothers. I mean, that's tough. You see how much your brother puts into the work ethic and then just being there, and you kind of crush his dream. So it's also a little bit of it's a little bittersweet at the moment, but I think you as brothers you want to see the other one do well, but that's what it's all about. So we both have a dream of winning the Stanley Cup, and if it comes down, push comes to shove, you're going to push your brother over to get that
take a healthy run at him. Yeah.
And it's funny, sir. I don't know if you noticed it, but in the handshake line, when Jordan shook Eric's hand, because Eric's got a couple already, he kind of gave him one of those. And then when Mark came, he kind of, and then was like, kind of like, hey, fucking go get it, brother. Like, go get it. And to me, I was like, wow, that's unbelievable. Like, he was, okay, Eric, fuck you already got one. But Mark, come on, buddy. Go get it, bud.
I mean, that's the moral of the story.
Cool,
for sure.
Moose, obviously your physical play, buddy. I wore the t-shirt for you today. Let the boys play. I was fucking up in arms in game 4, brother. I was heading to Twitter. I was taking on the chin. I don't want to get you in trouble.
From all the Dallas fans?
Yeah, I was a Dallas fan, other fans that just hated me along my way. But talk about, like, I love the way you play physical. And now we see Sam Bennett doing it him. Like, there's still an aspect to this game that I don't think will ever change, Moose, and something that you bring. But were you frustrated a little bit? Because it seemed like after round 1, they kind of changed the rules back to the way we want them. Like round 1's just as important, but just your aspects on playing physical and that there's still a need for it, I guess.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing after you talk about at the end of the season, you get to digest it all and take it in. I think the most frustrating part is, the physical play is, I don't know, playoff hockey is just unbelievable. It's just another level, and it brings the best out of you. And that's just the way I have to play. And it just feels like when you get those calls against you, you're almost getting taken out of the game a little bit in that style of play, and it hurts our team because that's how I have to play for our team, right? So it's one of those things. And I also realized too that it's just such a fine line between winning and losing. You lose a game, it's a big loss. Like, you don't have these. We got 2 penalty calls against me in game 4, and we're tied even series where we might be up 3-1. So it plays with your mind a little bit, because you really do have to play. It's a game within a game, and maybe I found out the hard way this year, but I wish I never had to find out that way, in a sense of, these aren't illegal checks. These aren't me trying to run someone's head off their shoulders. It's a shoulder to shoulder contact hit. It's me doing my job. You get an interference call on a big defenseman who does touch the puck. It's baffling. And that just, you kind of think like, what's going on here? What's like, were we handcuffed here from the start? I don't know what's going on. So you start playing mind games with yourself a little bit, and it's screwy, but man, there's nothing better than just the competitive physical game. And you see it, Florida, like you see Sam Bennett and, the run with Slavin behind the net, absolutely clean. And, there's no call, and rightfully so. And, fans love to see it. And that's just the style that everyone knows in our league, that's what happens in the playoffs. It's tighter checking. It's more physical. And, it's guys like styles like me that can thrive in those positions, but you just feel like you're getting taken out of it a little bit when that happens.
Totally. Like, are we still playing for the Stanley Cup out here or what? Are we not playing for the Stanley Cup or what's going on here?
Totally.
I almost ripped the TV off the wall, Moose. I was like, are you kidding me with that penalty?
The one call was so bad where it was a shoulder to shoulder. It was fucking
And
bad.
Then Moose, you're hitting game 5. Me and Uppy had just got into an argument about the Makar hit, and then you're hitting game 5. And I went to Instagram being like, let's sign a petition before they throw the book at Marcus Foligno. I thought they were going to kick you out forever. I'm like, the poor guy, but they let you play in game 6.
When that happened, I that was another one too. You think about it after, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have hit the guy, or it just sucks to even think about that, right? You go stick on puck and you're like, oh God, here we go. But it's just it's frustrating because you take a line, you don't move your knee, you get called kneeing. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going back to the penalty box, and I know I got Steve Kazari and I forget the other guy's name. Maybe it was Chris Lee at the time, but I'm thinking, 2 veteran guys. Okay, it might be they might knock it. I honestly thought they're going to reverse it to a 2-minute tripping call or something. Like that's what I'm thinking. The penalty box, and I just kind of see Chris Lee look at me and give me like you're out, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what happened. I probably should have snapped, but I was just like, this is insane. What's going on? Yeah. But hey, I mean, maybe if their player doesn't, lie on the ice for 20 minutes and then come back out the next shift line. So if he doesn't lay down that long, maybe it's a different story. They must have thought he was injured, and they take that into consideration, right? So yeah, it was a tough 2 games back to back in that series. And, you just like to, like you think about it at the end of the series, you would like to have it back.
Yeah. And I would just say you've always played in battling against you've always played this pretty respectful game that I think not only other players on the opposite team think, but the refs also. Like, I can't imagine you've ever been in a thing where you're like, fuck, these refs are all over me. Everything I do, they're like, so, and that's where I think even Obi and I were looking at each other, we're like, this is just, it's not like a veteran thing for these refs to do. It's
right. That's how I felt a little bit too. I mean, I'm never the one to be like, I'm a veteran, treat me like that. But I felt almost a little bit disrespected, and you guys know how to play referees all know who's on the ice and who plays the style of plays there are. We got to watch this guy closely tonight or what have you. Like, it is what it is. So, but never once that I ever treat refs poorly and I respect all those guys. So it's tough when you're kind of getting, I felt like you're getting punched in the face and you're both hands behind your back a little bit. You're defenseless, and you just start thinking, what's going on here. So, it is what it is. And you got to keep your emotions in check. And I think that's maybe, what I learned next year and we're going to next season. You got to be a little bit smarter. But I mean, if I would change my mind in any of those hits, I don't think I would. So that's the toughest part.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm in your dressing room, I don't want you changing the way you play, right? Like you were such a big factor for Minnie in that series. And unfortunate in game 5, you went out and you seen your team. Your team then, in my opinion, got depleted. And you finished your check. It's a split second to where, all right, I'm going to finish this guy with my shoulder down to where if I go this way on you, and to have Moose thinking about that in a Stanley Cup playoff game, that's what we got to be careful about, Ups, I think.
Oh, totally, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, Obi and I did love the structure of your team. You're tough, bringing in Revo, Hartman. I love the way Hartman played when he came back.
Yeah.
I love that kid. Your coach, Dean Evason, I had him in Kamloops. He was he was wild, man.
This guy's a maniac.
So I got there.
He might have been a little more crazy back then too.
He was squirrely because he just got off finish his career. So he was kind of using this head coaching job to feel like he was still in the game. And it started in training camp with these drills we would do in these circuits while we were working out. We'd have a speed bag and a heavy bag in there. And he'd put a Prince George Cougars jersey around the heavy bag. And we'd hold on with one and we would just throw for the 30 seconds while the other guys are doing squats. And so it was it was
old school.
And he'd always say to us, he's like, you fucking guys love golfing, right? We're like, yeah. He's like, well, you're not fucking going golfing unless you fucking do this workout because, why would you just go tee it up if you feel good? Your body needs to fucking hurt. He'd always be he would push us to feeling uncomfortable all the time, right? And I see that on the bench with you guys. I see the way he gets you guys up and the way you play in front of him. What was it like to have him there? Obviously, his first head coaching job in the NHL. I think he's been doing great. But what's it like to play for a guy like that?
We have a lot of respect for Dean, and I think it's because he reciprocates it. I think he has a lot of respect for us, and he gets it. I mean, he understands the grind of the season, and the way he played is the work ethic part, right? And that's all he wants to see. He wants to just see the work ethic there first. And we have a lot of skill in our team, obviously, but we're a really good team when we're moving our feet, we're hitting finishing checks and things like that. And that's what he loves. And that's a style of hockey that just wild hockey is all about too. So I think that's he's a great fit for here. And at the same time too, he knows how to keep it loose. And that's what I love about him. There's times where he comes up to us, us as a captains and assistants, and he just tells us hey, the room's yours. This is a big game. I don't need to talk. We respect that even more because coach has trust in us, and I think that's what's great about Dino is that he just gets it, and he's been a player. I think that just feeds into it. He knows after a loss. Does he have to come in and scream? No. Yeah. And we're doing a lot of the talk in the room, and he knows he's doing the right thing by letting us do it if we follow up with a great game the next game. So he's a great guy. You can joke around with him at the rink. He's pretty comical. He's got some quirks. He does a lot of yoga and stuff, and always give him a hard time about it, but he's always on the ice stretching and stuff. But you know what? You see it in the victories, in the overtime wins or big goals. I mean, he's fist pumping guys and punching our assistant coaches and things like that. I mean, you turn around, you see a coach excited that the guys score, the guys are winning. I mean, I love seeing that. Sometimes the coach that doesn't make an emotion. I don't know. It is what it is. There's good coaches that way too, but I love when coaches get fired up. It just brings up the energy on the bench, and Dino does a good job with it.
Does he still use a pizza shovel for a curve, like that long heel? He used to have this fucking pitchfork little stick, but he was so good playing 3-on-3. After the skate with the guys who weren't playing, he'd get out there and just work guys. I mean, maybe he was. Yeah. This is now 20 years younger than Dean Evason, but he still had game, and he used this fucking pizza shovel for a heel curve, and I'm like, how do you even fucking use that?
Yeah, it's a thick blade, but we don't even see him push pucks around. The only time he does it, he slaps the boards and make a skate over and back. So he's making the assistants do most of the puck skills there. Good. Yeah, he's. I mean, most of these coaches have just terrible curves, anyways, and it sticks now.
Hey, you talk about your system. I was wondering if Darby Hendrickson maybe wore an extra fucking dress shirt, or maybe threw his old shoulder pads on. There was a couple times where Evason was like, fuck yeah. I was like, that's probably got to hurt. Does Darby ever say fuck boys, Dino's really leaning on me here?
He knows he can give it to Darby because Darby is an absolute monster. This guy works out harder than anyone else on our team. So he's a unit. So I think that's why he gives it to Darby the most. But those guys, Brett Mclean and Bob Woods, I mean, those guys are just dodging. They know he's coming in for the rib shots and the kidney shots. So it's comical on the bench.
Hey, Moose, when you look at the last two teams that are left here, right? We all know from our playing days and that, like, it's a copycat league, right? You look at the Florida Panthers, they've been playing a hard, physical, grinding game. You look at Vegas, they have a big team with big D and big forwards. Like, does that motivate you? Have you maybe been talking to some of the teammates, or when you start talking to the boys, like, hey, listen, boys, we did lose in the first round, but look at what wins, because I think that's what you guys have in Mini.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we have big guys on our team. With our forwards and stuff. We got some big guys. Our back end too. We got you bring a guy like Middleton in, who's a big solid guy too, and I just think that's what's needed. I mean, just the steadiness, the strength. It's such a tight checking game in the playoffs. It's big guys like me. It's great to see that working. And the physical play. I mean, you look at Vegas right now. I mean, they're skating really well, but they shut down a lot in their zone, and it's tough to get by, tough to get to the net. And they have big guys. I played with McNabb in Buffalo, and that's a guy that is just steady all the time. He can lay guys out. I mean, he's been through the grind of playing the postseason many times, and it's guys like that can help you out and help you win. So it's something that we want to keep building in Minnesota, and playing that big style of hockey, but with speed, and that seems to be the recipe right now.
Foligno, talk about Flower for a minute. As the kid, is he always that up and like fucking positive and laughing? Is it like, have you seen him get mad, or is he more like, just a super dedicated kid that always has a smile on his face and, laughs? And I feel like, playing in front of a guy like that, it's got to give you a little confidence knowing like, okay, listen, he's up. He's not going to be down. He's, let's just fucking play hard in front of him. He's going to see pucks. And just what's it like to play for a guy that's, won his 3 cups like that? He's been a legend.
I mean, first of all, it's amazing how good he is. He still is an unbelievable goalie. I mean, it's insane. In practice, he's chirping, he's doing acrobatic saves. He's just out there all the time. I mean, it's unbelievable. I think he brought us so much life to our room. He's awesome. I mean, we go for dinners all the time on the road and stuff. He loves doing that. And he's just such a great guy, and great person, and someone that you can bounce so many things off of too. I mean, just being in certain situations with the game. And I mean, as a goalie, I mean, there's nothing, no bigger position with pressure, dealing with pressure than him. So he's awesome. I mean, he's been so good for us. He's been, I think, reason for, our other goalie Gustafson having a great year is having a guy like Flower beside him too. And that just goes, it gives credit to Flower and what he's able to do for our team. And he's a guy moving forward. I mean, he's, so many wins away from, I think, breaking Patty Wall's record. And I think, I'm excited for that day next year. And, we want that to be as soon as possible too in next season. So, he's an unbelievable guy. But I mean, he's sometimes too, like, I remember I think it was before playoffs, you're kind of just getting in the, your mindset of trying to make it and being, getting by these last couple games. And maybe I wasn't my over energetic self in the morning skate or something. He came out to me and he's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what?" And he's just like, you're not laughing. You're not loud. What's going on?" And I'm like, "Holy shit." Like he recognized, he's really good at like recognizing the room and seeing what the vibe is, and he knows how to turn it up or get guys going. And I think that's what I respect the most out of him. He's always watching, always doing that stuff. And he's been a great addition for us. And, I would love nothing more than to win with that guy.
Yeah. I think he just looks at his bank account every morning before he goes to the rink. He's like,
looks at his pads.
Fuck it, boys. How we doing here, boys? Hey, what's going on here? Shake off that loss last night. We're doing all right.
Look at how sick these pads look. He's
got the sickest style. He's got the sickest style.
Well, in Vegas, he brought us out like dune bugging or doing like those big like 4-wheeler car type things, and he had it all set up. Derek Englund was out there and brought him out in Vegas, and we went out in the mountains and stuff like that. Like the guy's awesome, man. Like he set it all up for us. We had like full, food and drinks out there in the mountains. Like he's a kid at heart and always wants to have fun and bringing all the guys together. So you really love guys like that.
Yeah, those are the best guys, and that's what we miss the most about playing. But Moose, I want to talk to you about your fans. First of all, I used to love playing in that building. I don't know if it was because I typically got a good night's sleep in St. Paul, right? I was like, fuck, I'll shut her down here. I felt, but great barn.
Not much going on in St. Paul.
Speak for yourself. I've had a few nights
I wouldn't go to Minneapolis. I'm like, it's too far now. I'm just going to have a quick bite to eat here and shut her down. But I got to know some of your fans over the course of the year for just, liking your team and got to know them through great fan base. They love the way you play. Talk about, playing in front of a full barn every night. Like there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been unbelievable since day one of being traded here and playing here. It's been, the fans here are knowledgeable and understand the game of hockey. They're passionate and they just, they pack the house every night. I mean, I think it's 7th Ave or 7th Street. That's right out front, St. Paul, that gets going, especially when there's nice weather out and all the bars and stuff are open. And it's fun for our fans. But yeah, it's a crowd, man, that once it gets going, it's tough to stop. And, it seems like past couple of seasons here, it's been really ramped up and it's been exciting to play in front of them. They get loud and, they just, playoffs too, but I think maybe just having like a guy like Kirill Kaprizov coming in, it's been amazing, just the energy around that, and it's been huge. I mean, playoffs, I'm probably gonna get heat for this, but it was a lot louder in our barn than it was in Dallas some nights, and it is what it is. I mean, it's just they just want to see us win so badly, and obviously we want to do that, but it's unbelievable knowing the fan base you have, knowing it's going to be packed every night, whether it's a Tuesday night or, a Monday night, it doesn't matter. It seems like we get those games because we know our fans are always going to be there. So when you get them going, it's tough to stop them. It gets pretty raucous in there.
It's one barn. Like, do you think back in when you think of like good games when you've been in them, like Minnesota's, when you're walking like from the hotel in there, you're like, it's going to be a real fucking hockey game.
I liked playing there.
Like it smells like hockey. It fucking
smell there. Yeah.
It's got just the right. It's got the right. It's got all
the jerseys though, with the high school jerseys. I always look at the jerseys. What the fuck team is that? I wonder. But
perfect nice clean sauce, rink. They do a good job with it.
So you mentioned Krill Kaprizov. What's this guy's like? Well, what's his mentality like? Is he home wrestling bears and shit? Is he just he's a freak, right? Like his body comp, like the way his legs are, and he's just strong and his mind, right? Like he wants to fucking, win and be the guy like every night, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big comparison, but like the Datsuk of puck protection. Like, I just feel like he's got that, like he's got like the stick lifting mobility that, man, in practice, it's even worse because he goes so hard in practice. He stays out. Him and Zuccarello became really close, and they just seem to be playing pond hockey once practice is done. They'll just stay out for, another 30 minutes, 45 minutes and just pass and shoot all the time. And he's just a hard worker. And again, his positive attitude, man, this guy's, never giving crap to anyone else. It's all about him and what he can do better for the team. And that was an eye opener for me, just from a guy that, with inexperience of just coming to the league year one. I mean, year one was rough for him. Obviously, I think it was the half year after COVID. And so he didn't really, wasn't the best experience for his part too, just getting to know everyone. But past 2 seasons, man, he's taken off. His English is a lot better now. That's helped. And just getting more familiar with the guys, getting comfortable here and, really, making it his team. I think it's exciting for him and for our fans and playing with a guy like that. So it just puts the team first, and it's all about what he can do more. And, he's pissed off if, he's not putting pucks on guys' tapes, and it's great to see that. And it just rubs off on everyone else.
Yeah, I like that he plays with a little bit of an edge too, right? Like he'll get in there and like when you think of the Minnesota Wild, like the last maybe explosive player was Marian Gaborik, right? Yeah. Before that, no disrespect to Heater. Right. Heater lost a few steps. Heater wasn't going to take you wide, eh? So, but like when you guys got him, it seemed like, okay, this is what this team needed. Like you always got structure, you had good goaltending, big guys, but like he was the guy, and I think the way that he battles Moose is what I love most about him. Like, besides his skill, obviously.
Oh yeah, he'll take a run at you, and that's what's awesome. I mean, when you get Krill pissed off in the game, and our bench just lifts up. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, he's got nastiness to his game. He'll cross check and do that stuff too, and it's great because he goes after some of the top players on the other team. So it's phenomenal to see him play like that with that edge, and he is a playoff guy. I mean, he definitely is. And it's going to be exciting to see what he can do. If he, can go further and further, he's obviously going to be the driving force behind that. So he's a guy that, big games, big moments, he's always there to answer the bell. And we're lucky to be playing with him. But like you said, he doesn't shy away from the physical stuff. And that to me is, you got a skilled player like that. And you're loving it as a like type of role player I am on the team. So it just brings everyone else into the fight.
Talk about personalities. How did your team accept Mr. 75 when he showed up and all of a sudden he's in green and he's battled against you guys forever? But Revo, like one of my good buddies, loved playing with him. He was my line mate for 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, what does he bring to your, like between his room?
Does he ever wear a shirt?
No, he never wears a shirt. Between him crushing a few pints with the boys after a game on the Bird to, getting the guys up before a game, to fucking chirping other guys in the team. He brings like this total Revo factor to the dressing room, right? Like what was it like when he first showed up and you're like, okay, here we go.
That, playing against them, it's obviously frustrating because of just how he can get under your skin. And obviously he does it with the physical play and obviously the chirping. So definitely nice to have him on your team. But it started from day one. I mean, he just gets along with everyone. He's a great guy on and off the ice. He knows how to talk in the room and get guys going and rev all the boys up. And at the same time, he played really well for us all season too. So that was huge. And, it was good. It was just more energy in our room, and that lifted some guys up, made some guys' chests a little bit bigger. And
exactly.
It's nice to have that. I mean, you know that you're going to have that type of player always having your back, and he supports everyone. And I mean, he's not playing the most minutes, but him on the bench and getting guys going and waking guys up when they need to be woken up. It's what he brings, and it's what we need. So I think we had a terrible stereo speaker system in the room, and it was like 3 weeks later we had a brand new one. He made Billy G pay for one or something. So it's just the type of stuff that we went with this speaker system for a couple of years now, and you get people in the room and things start changing. He starts barking at guys and putting orders in, and guys are listening to him. So that's what he brings, and it's fun. And we hope he's with us for a couple more years.
Moose, talk about it because some people ask me, when you fight a guy and then you play, like talk to our listeners about, you fight Revo and the next thing you know, he's in your, like you have an appreciation for him even more, right? That you guys, went in there, went at it. Now he's on your team. And like you said, it's nice to have, but it's a unique thing where, you fight a guy and next thing you know, you're sitting on the plane with him or having dinner with him. Like just maybe explain that to our listeners. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like playing against them. It was always tough. It was always a battle. We played against them in the playoffs, and me being one of the bigger guys on our team, you got to answer the bell sometimes. And unfortunately, it's the guys like that, right? So, but you got to do it, and that's what you take pride in, and stepping up. And you know what? I think that's what happened. With fighting him early, and then him getting traded here. There's an instant, respect there, and that's what I love about it. You're always going to be friends with those guys that play that way. It seems like they're the best guys in the room, and they understand that it's a grind, and that's the way of doing it. I think just the way I was brought up. You never want to be looked at as some guy shying away from that, and your teammates respect you even more when you have to fight guys like that. So to have him on your team, knowing that that's one less guy to fight, it makes it a little bit easier to sleep at night. Exactly. But it's good. It's easy. He's a great teammate. And then, you just kind of hit it off right away. And, again, with one of those guys that you go on the road with, you're always going to dinners with, you become really close with. And, like I said, it's great to have him on our team.
Do you remember the phone call when your brother fucking went toe to toe with him in St. Louis? Do you remember calling your brother probably after going, what the hell are you thinking? I was on the ice there for that, and he drops his gloves and they fucking square off. I'm like, this fucking Nick Foligno's fucking insane.
I was like, man, now I really have to fight Revo now. Like Nick's going to have that on me now. So I'm like, oh God, here we go. But unbelievable. I mean, that's just Nick too. I mean, he's a guy that plays for his teammates and steps up when he needs to be, and sometimes have to fight some guys that are Goliath compared to him. And it's just the way we're kind of cut from our father a little bit. That's just the way he was. And, I just think that, you got to do what you don't want to do sometimes. And when I remember that conversation, it was hilarious. He's like, I don't know. He's like, thank God this guy missed me with a couple, because I'm like, your head would have been all the way in like 20th row on the stand. So I'm like, it's just, he did good against them. He did. I think Revo just missed a couple on him. So sometimes it's just about answering the bell.
Yeah, and you talk about your dad, obviously a legend, but you played in Sudbury. And for me, when I made the American League, I fought in junior, obviously, but I was like, fuck, I'm going to fight just to fight, to keep me kind of going. Like, is that what it was with you, or just because your dad, like, did you enjoy doing it? Do you enjoy it? Like, how, or was it just something you're like, listen, I'm big, I play hard, I got to fight? Like, how did it come? I guess I'm asking, do you enjoy it?
Yeah. I mean, no, I do enjoy it. I enjoy it for, the reasons of, what fighting, brings to our league and what it does to the game of hockey. I mean, it settles things down. It's about stepping up for a teammate when there's something that, is dirty or something like that. I think that's where fighting excels in our league. And yeah, there's the cheer of the crowd when you're doing it. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I do enjoy it. And along the lines of trying to get, adding that to my game. I mean, I think I first realized like, hey, it might be something I need to start doing more. It was like my second year in junior. I remember fighting in preseason for the first time. And, it was just my first year in junior with the Surrey Wolves. Like I think I had 1 or 2 fights and it was, not great fights. And, you just get confidence from it, right? You get a little bit better. You feel a little bit tougher and you can do a little more on the ice because, you can back it up if anything goes south. So, yeah, I think that's something. And being a big guy, I mean, you're going to be hitting physical, so you got to expect too that someone else is going to challenge you, right? So you want to be prepared, and and obviously just the way watching my dad. I mean, we're not too far off the way he played the game, and it was part of the just being a good team guy. I think stepping up for teammates in that sense, I think that brings a lot of guys closer. You want to win as a team. And I think there's nothing better than when you have guys stepping up for each other, let you know that you really care about them, and it brings them around the group up. And I think that's that's how you win.
Yeah, I remember young guys. I remember Garrett Hathaway came from like Brown University or whatever, right? He's like, got any advice about fighting? I'm like, yeah, get in them.
Throw first. Ask questions.
There's only one way to really learn, and you just got to go. Like, I can show you where to grab if you want or whatever, but as you know, Moose, there's only one way to learn. Get in there. And like you said, when I was younger, some of my early ones were ugly, but you learn and adapt, and that's how you do it.
And you learn too by taking a couple on the face. Like you just, like, hey, I pop back up. I'm okay. I'll be fine. So it's just some of those too. Things go bad from a fight before. There's nothing better than getting involved in another one just to get your confidence back up. And I think it just comes with my style of play too. I think the more physical I am, the better of game I'm having. And it's kind of the engine behind, how well I'm playing in that game.
Real quick about your dad. He's obviously a legend. He's a beauty. Did you ever ask him about the bucket he wore? Were you ever like, Pops, was there not like could you not throw a CCM on
did
there?
Did they run out of helmets into that?
He said, I think he got some, they paid him to use it. But he's like, honestly, I remember a company came by and they wanted to switch my helmet out and they were going to pay me more. He's like, I wore it. He's like, it was so uncomfortable. I had to go back to that one. He's like, the other one had so much thick padding in it, so when the guys would punch him in the head, he said he wouldn't really feel it. So he's like, I loved it. So we have a couple in the office back home. We call them the Fruit Loops, the cereal bowl helmets. So a couple guys wore them, but man, I don't know if I could see my dad in another helmet. It's pretty comical looking back at some photos now. They look great.
That is a fucking bucket, isn't it?
It does look good on I gotta give it.
Eat your chicken noodle soup and then wear it right.
We've had some ball hockey games up in Sudbury, and me and my brother have thrown them on, and it's comical. It's great. It's everyone gets a good laugh out of those.
I was like my rookie year. I grabbed Solani's Jofa. I said, let me put that on, Tamo. Let me just sit. I put it. I'm like, you're the only one. Like Solani's the only one that could make a Jofa bucket look cool.
I know,
right? Like, could anyone else make that helmet look cool?
Yari Curry wore one too, right?
Yeah, maybe. I guess
it's just you got to be maybe a fast fin.
It looks like the thinnest plastic too on that thing. It's having a basket on your head.
There's no surprise. The makeup of your team, the way you guys play, big, strong. When you think about Billy Guerin kind of orchestrating this whole thing and coming in and putting his stamp to the Minnesota Wild, what's it like? Having a guy, he's a champ. He played hard. I mean, I played against this guy. He was a killer.
You played against Bill?
Yeah, well, you would have played against Bill.
Yeah, maybe I did play against
and Pitt and stuff. Like he was. I mean, you want to know when he's out there because you never knew what he's going to do to you. But anyway, like, how's his relationship with the guys? What was his message going into the summer? Is it good playing for a guy like that? Like he carries a lot of respect in the league.
Yeah, no, you know what? When Billy got the job here, we're all excited. I mean, I watched Billy when I was younger, so you're just, you want to meet a guy like that. And I always, like the way he played when he was playing in the NHL. And now you get a guy like that that's going to be around, a lot and be able to bounce ideas off. And I think that's one thing now meeting him is just his communication skills. He's awesome. He's always in the room. He honestly acts like one of your teammates. That's how great of a guy he is. I mean, he's shooting the shit. I mean, he's probably easygoing GM that I've been around, and it's been great. I mean, he comes in the room and hassles guys about their style and things like that, and then he's gone, and then he's usually in the meal room having lunch before everyone else does. So he's an awesome guy, and again, a guy that's played, that gets the room, he understands the vibe of the guys, and what's needed at certain times and what's not. And I think that's it's a guy that you can definitely see that you want to play for, and that's the biggest thing too. You always you talk about playing for coaches and stuff like that, but as a GM, I mean, he's a guy that you definitely want to play for and you want to win for. I mean, he's that great of a guy, and he's got a lot of respect in our room, and he's done a lot of great things with this team. I mean, ever since he got here, man, he's changed it a lot, and I think the message in the summer is you got to come in here and be more accountable, and just demand to be perfect at everything you do, and we got to win. So the time's kind of now, and it's not ticking it up by all means. We have a great team for a long time, but you got to understand the big moments and then rise to them, and that's what we maybe didn't do at certain times in the series against Dallas. And but I mean, you look at the season and the season before. I mean, they're great. They're great regular seasons, and something we have to keep building off of.
Moose, I think I like about Billy G, and I don't know if you noticed this as a player, but like he's always, he goes on TNT in an intermission. He's always, answering like he's always representing your hockey club and answering the questions and saying he's not hiding, I guess is what I'm saying. As a player, you're like, it fucking rights, Billy G. Look at our GM, boys. He's out there answering the questions. Let's play hard for this guy. Like from an ex-player, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he puts his neck on the line for us, right? So it just that's what's great, and what's we respect the most out is you have this guy that's willing to take something on the chin where maybe we should be the ones taking it on the chin. So he also wants to win badly, and then that's great to see. He's not here trying to be wishy-washy with us. If he's got something to say, he'll come into the room and say right to our face, and that's what we all appreciate. And you guys know as players, like the gray area, it sucked. Wondering what so and so's thinking, and am I doing the right thing? Like no, like you can talk to Billy about your game, and he'll give you the exact answer, or you'll be talking about something, and he'll be like, no, you're overthinking it. So, I mean, that's maybe people know this, but we had a team meeting, and he held the team meeting. It's actually we lost to Vegas. We got pounded 5-1 at home, and we were going on kind of a rut, and we were playing pretty bad, and I think it was just right after All-Star break. And he came in like as soon as we got our skates off, like he was in the room right after the game, and he just like settled us down. He was not like yelling at us like, you guys, this is a joke. Like he was like, we were gripping our stick too tight. We were putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we weren't playing our game, that style of hockey that we knew how to play. And he just came in and cracked a couple jokes and just said, hey, like, if you're eating chicken and pasta, like just go get ice cream. Like, I don't care what the hell you guys do, it's change up positions in the bedroom. I'm not too sure what to do. You got to change things up. Like that's what he did. And like, everyone's kind of like, once he said some things, everyone's like looking at each other like we're lucky we didn't get yelled at, This is actually pretty amazing that a GM like that just wants to come in and talk to us like normal people. So, and we, I think the next game later we beat Carolina in a shootout or something like that. And, we went on a tear for the rest of the season. So, maybe he's got different thinking, and maybe we don't go down that route. We do miss playoffs.
Yeah. Moose, last thing, buddy. We're one of your former teammates from Buffalo, Jack Eichel. We've got to become good friends with Ikes. About to play in the Stanley Cup final. Just touch on that and everything he's been through, and it's pretty impressive. Yeah,
I'm pumped for Ikes. He's first off, when he got to Buffalo and playing with him there, I mean, he's a young kid, rookie. He's got a lot of pressure on him, but man, unbelievable talent, skilled, could fly, could skate. I don't think anyone really has a skating stride like that guy. It's amazing. But I'm happy for him. I think he's gone through a lot with the pressure situation and a lot of just growing up, and like every young kid in this league kind of has to, and it's not easy being held responsible for a lot of things going south in a team that you're looked at as a 22-year-old. So I'm happy for him because he's always had the work ethic where people maybe thought he didn't show it a lot, and it is what it is, man. You get an opportunity, and he's, in my eyes, one of the top 5 players in the league. And when he's going, he's unbelievable, and he's just he's a guy that can just get you that timely goal or that make that play, and and now he's learning the 200-foot game, which is dangerous. So really happy for him. And he's a great guy off the ice. I mean, he's a guy that loves to have fun and loves going for dinners and having drinks with the guys. But the one thing I kind of made me learn some things from him is just how competitive he is and how badly he wants to win. So I'm not shocked to see him get his first, taste of playoffs and be in the position he's in, because, he deserves it, but he holds himself accountable and wants to be the best out there. And he's a special talent. So I'm really excited for him.
Awesome, Moose. Like I said, buddy, we appreciate you taking the time. We know how busy it is in the off season. Love your game, brother. Keep it going. Enjoy Sudbury. Have a good summer. And we're looking forward to you snapping around next year, my man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great summer too. And thanks for having me on.